Hello, and welcome to part 11 of my Dragon Wars walkthrough for the Apple II. In this video we will visit Lanac'Toor's lab beneath the city of the Mud Toad, and then start on the quest to recover the Sword of Freedom, which is a one-time stat bonus. We will look deeper into Dragon Valley now our party is stronger, to find treasure and complete an important game quest, though we won't fully map it out as the fights go slowly. Then we'll work through the Sunken Ruins next to it before getting the sword reforged. So, paragraph 107 is a funny little note about Lanac'Toor losing spectacles that help him see the College of Magic, but also Sirius defending the city. This actually goes pretty quickly because there is a lot of space between the walls, and one of the big puzzles here is where to cast Softened Stone to find Lanac'Toor's main small library chamber. So, the mapping will go quickly. The enemies are moderately tough here. A lot of spitting snakes and stuff like that. There are passages that wrap horizontally and I think vertically too, but there aren't that many. It's mostly winding passages. So there we took down some spitting snakes but took damage. The goblins, I suppose we could take them down, but they run away, so we don't really need a spell. And there we've done one horizontal warp going to the left and around to the right and back to where we were south of the ladder. And at the end of the T there will be a fight. The dragon teeth are very handy to knock out enemies that breathe from a distance, as you can see. And in fact, they make it an even bet whether you should attack enemies or run away. You can go fishing for the right fights here. I think this was a fixed combat square, until you get something like the skeletons who just aren't going to damage us at this point. If we get a breathing monster, then eventually we have to bandage everybody, and it's one more variable. And we've found a passage to the Underworld, but we want to map everything out first, which shouldn't take too long. The wraiths and magic ghouls are annoying with their long distance spells, but again, because we waited to get the dragon teeth, they're not too bad. The dragon teeth have 60 feet range, so that takes care of pretty much everything here. We do not want to take the descending stairs because they are one way, which you may have guessed if you remember the Underworld episode very well. If we had found stairs, we would have taken them up. Here is the cubbyhole with spells. Zack's speed is a good one. I don't think we have Dazzle or Kill Ray yet. And then to the west are the spectacles, which will let you see the College of Magic, as paragraph 107 said. This had some nice treasure, obviously. The dragon shield is pretty major and worth the trip in itself, even if we already had the spells or didn't want the spells. And I don't know why I took the sunstroke. I'm probably not going to have anybody get sun magic. Might as well check. And now we go to Irkala's realm, now that we have the items we need. The golden boots let us jump across the lake, and I used the wrong item. And yeah, I remember I didn't want my parents seeing this when I was 14 or whatever. What kind of games are you playing there, young man? Bah! So, yeah, I got the water potion now, and we can do stuff with the water potion. That will let us explore the Sunken Ruins, which is where we will go next. Although we will have a stop stop off in Dragon Valley to get a quest item. The murk trees keep getting easier and easier, and if I actually used my skill points, I should probably use them for dexterity and strength for the fighters, which will make them that much harder to hit. And so we are going to go up the right edge of Dragon Valley now. This is a good selection because fangers aren't hard to kill. And even if the mage blocks us for a bit, we can still take the mage down. We are going to resist the block spells of the mage eventually, and the fangers do minimum damage, but they're not even worth wasting a spell over. At least this few, only 6 or so of them. There we go. We will need to get by 2 fights to get to some treasure in the northeast. The treasure will actually be spells we could have bought in Freeport. Man, Inferno's nice. And we can see the fangers are doing just a bit of damage, not too much. Okay. I'm going with a bit of overkill because I know there is treasure with more dragon eyes, more than we can actually take. Of course, if I wanted to use those spells, I should have used them immediately, but I'm not grading myself on style points here. And in the very northeast, the chest has Solo's Swift, Vorn's Guard, and Cowardice. All high magic. And so Diane can use them. Now I am going to go see the Dragon Queen, who is not happy that I have been winning all these encounters, because these are her people I am killing. And these dragon warriors, if you recall, took me down, or rather took a cliff out, so I needed to go to the necropolis between videos. They're still not to be ignored. Carla might have gotten lucky there. And down they go. Now I am just checking to see who has the dragon gem. And the Dragon Queen, paragraph 134, you will die for what you have done. Paragraph 21 says, okay, a deal's a deal. I have to help and serve you if you're in trouble. And we have a common enemy in Namtar. So she is a very tough combat if you cannot use the gem, and I think she keeps attacking even if you try and flee. So yeah, it's really dangerous to approach her. She is beatable. I've done it with really inflated stats, but I'm not going to try that here. So yes, when next you use the dragon gem, I will respond, but the sacrifice you offer must be sweet, or I will turn on you, and I don't care about the dragon gem. it marks you as a friend of dragons. And yeah, we're just here in the actual adventure. More fangers, a cockatrice, and dragon warriors. You have to be a bit vigilant, and you should still probably save before every combat. But here's the last one. There's nice treasure behind. And that was nice and effective, Inferno. I probably should have had Fraser cast Inferno right away, since we are going to be using a Dragon Eye because we're going to be getting more. So it doesn't matter if he has 12 of 32 spell points or 2 of 32. Oops. It cast it, but it didn't seem to work because the fight was already over. The dragon helm and dragon shield are very nice. This is all the treasure there is in Dragon Valley, so I will be zigzagging back through to avoid combats. And then we will visit the Sunken Ruins. There's pretty good experience here, but since enemies never drop items unless there's specifically a chest there, there's no reason to stay around here. Yeah, I'm going to be shuffling my inventory a bit here. But you've probably noticed in general the sort of fights that happen in Dragon Valley. There are the two groups of dragon warriors. There is the mages with fangers. I think there's mages with cockatrices. I don't think are a combination, but those might be the toughest because the mages freeze you and then the cockatrices breathe, and if that happens too often, you lose. I'm really looking to get all the dragon's eyes I can. I wind up not using them at the end of the game because there is a sort of quantum leap from guys you can beat without too many spells to guys you just aren't going to beat. And now we see the commentary as we go back. It's a bit outdated now that we've talked to the Dragon Queen, or the one that says, "What will you do for an encore?" But what can they do about that? That's tricky. They had bigger bugs to fix, and this is a nice bug-free game, and we wouldn't want to use the last of the Apple memory on that. So here in the Sunken Ruins, the enemies aren't too bad, at least not on the top level. Here is something funny. The door, the lock defies you. You need 4 lockpicks to get through the door, but you can go off to the side and go through a secret door wall. For some reason, I never realized that until I went through the wall by accident, and I felt kind of dumb. But yeah, in the end, I really only wasted 2 stat points because I need 3 lockpick to get to open other chests, which are really worth it. So enemies can do a lot of damage here, but we also have some pretty good armor class. And they also appear at 20 feet a lot, so we get a free hit in with our dragon teeth. And that makes all the difference when we're trying to avoid being killed. Okay, all this is useless, but it's kind of cool to see new items. And the well is behind a secret door. You kind of figure that since nothing else is there, and there's that one dark square in the Automap, you'd better get to it, and one of the 4 walls has to work, and it does. So now we use the water potion to be able to go down to the second level of the Sunken Ruins, the potion that Irkala gave us. There is a spinner in here, and there is some good treasure in addition to the item we need for the next bit of the quest. Again, this is 8x8, so there's not much to see here. And I think I may have missed a secret door. I was searching for it, and that may be why this takes longer than it could. And the treasure behind is nice, but our party is pretty much set for the final fight. And softened stone doesn't work. This is something I tried a while ago. Maybe I will bite edit things so that I get into those places where we can't walk or we don't see a secret passage in the wall. But right now, we just map things out. And there's a bit of anachronism stuff there with beach bums. I think that was stylish beach wear for guys in the 80s or something. It's a while ago. I mean, we know what a beach bum is, but it was actual brand of clothing. Or was that? Either way, it's pretty funny. So there was a sword inside the clam, and we tried to take the sword, but the clam kept snapping down on us. So we'll see what's up with that in a few minutes. And we will note that the spinner is east of the stairs, and we use the general strategy that we use for spinners. If we have a map, we look for the doors and the wall and the open areas in the perspective that we want. But first, we have found a locker, and Cliff picks the lock, and the bloated corpses, we don't want to mess with them. I probably should have had Fraser cast Inferno right away. Only the dragon plate is really useful since the dragon's teeth are more valuable, but it is a nice big jump. Oh, and maybe I should, equip that dragon shield. Not just have it in my inventory for later. And you can see the map here. It's complete or complete enough in case there is an extra secret door. I know that kind of drove me crazy when I was younger if there was a space I couldn't get into. I wondered if there was some double extra secret way to get to that square I just hadn't figured out. I think Might and Magic 2, the Dragon Realm, there was a bar of three squares. The person who wrote a guide for GameFAQs said they couldn't get in, and I remember hex editing, so I changed the location to there, and I verified there was nothing there, so I felt smart. Oh, and the clam dissolves, excuse me, leaving the skull behind. And the passage out will have enemies to fight, but nobody is too tough. I'm pretty sure these are all fixed combats, so there's not much I can do to speed things up. I should probably heal Norm too, shouldn't I? So that takes care of the Sunken Ruins Isle. We now wish to visit the Dwarf Clan Hall, which we visited twice before. First, just to see where it was from the underground. Second, to loot the dwarves' treasure after we played all nice and turned them away from stone. And then we have one more thing to do, which is get the Sword of Freedom forged, and then there's a place to use it where we will get a nice bonus. I'm never sure if it would be easier to go up into the Dwarf Clan Hall or across King's Isle, but I know that there's a possibility that I might get drained or killed by the fire around the Dwarf Clan Hall's west exit in the underground, so I'm just going to play it safe up here. Besides, Sam has enough MP to use Softened Stone twice. Or I thought he did. And here the Dwarven Smith works on the magical forge, and it is time to give them Roba's skull. And there's just one more thing to do now, which is actually get the Sword of Freedom. Oops, I confused the two buildings. I went to Lance's building and not Irkala's. But that's easy to fix. And that's what a time to have Mage Flame expire. Or Mage Light. Yeah. And I thought I had to do something fancy to find the sword, but I just had to walk on the right square. The Sword of Freedom is a very good item, but it's still not as good as the Dragon's Teeth. It allows you to cast Inferno. I don't know what level it is or if that level can be increased. but it does one thing that Dragon Teeth cannot do, which we're going to see. And well, I guess maybe I should have run from this fight. I thought I could wax the enemies very quickly. Again, I thought I could beat them in one round. Now we heal everybody again. And we're going to go somewhere different inside Salvation this time. We're going to go to the north edge. You notice the path winds, but there aren't really too many branches. Here, before we get to the north exit, we turn east. And then there will be what looks like a 3x3 room. Paragraph 97 says, "The universal God requires a sign, and gods risk disaster when they come to the world in person." So there's your boon to go slay Nam'Toor. This gives us a one-time bonus for strength, dexterity, intelligence, and spirituality, all increased by 3. We also will want to increase dexterity by 1 more because that boosts attack and defense by 1. This is only one time. If we restart and replay and get the sword again, we will not get the bonus, which is kind of a bummer, but it is pretty powerful. So right now, we are close to where we need to be to win the game, but we still have a rustic to explore and Nam'Toor's non-magical army to defeat. Both parts are well done, even if they're not critical, so if you want to see the end, you can skip to part 14. Either way, that's all there is to this video, so thanks for watching through, and if you've enjoyed this enough, giving a like or subscribing if you haven't already goes a long way in encouraging me to share more videos of fun games you may want to revisit or didn't realize you missed. See you next video.